Good afternoon, everybody. We are currently out across northern Indiana. I am currently in Wells County, Indiana, outside Pinedo at the moment here. We are tracking some freezing rain that is occurring across northern Indiana. It's currently moving into the state right now and moving across. Right now, surface temperatures are right at 31, 32 degrees. That is a prime environment for freezing rain, as freezing rain is occurring right now. We'll be watching for deteriorating conditions here as we go throughout the afternoon, especially north of State Road 18 here in northern Indiana, is where we're expecting the highest accretions. Once you go north of US 30, north of Fort Wayne, there's a little bit more cold air aloft. That'll kind of mitigate the freezing rain a little bit, but really increase potential for more wintry mix, snow, sleet, pellets mixing in as well with that deeper cold air aloft. Once you go south of Fort Wayne, the air is actually warmer aloft. That'll help promote that freezing rain as we have some colder air at the surface. So with that being said here, guys, I'll be live here for probably the majority here of the afternoon as we go throughout Indiana here and maybe Northwest Ohio, covering the freezing rain. Overall, probably be a pretty quiet stream. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I may talk periodically or point something out. If I see something, I'll give you updates periodically here as well. May even see a few lightning bolts here as well. But we'll be out and about here tracking this and also taking some measurements as well of the ice accretion that we have here across northern Indiana today. So if you guys have any questions, again, feel free to put them in the chat here. But right now, the highest ice accretions appear to be between State Road 18 and US 30 across northern Indiana, especially east of I-69. Seems to be where some higher precipitational values seem to come together a little bit better. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions or concerns, feel free to put them in chat and I'll try to get them answered for you here throughout the afternoon. But I am currently in Wells County, Indiana, outside the small village of Pinedo. That is where I'm currently at now. This is State Road 218 here. Roadways are going to start to get pretty slippery here. As you can see, it's raining here on the camera, but this is in fact freezing rain. As surface temperatures are at 31 degrees right now, according to my instrument pack that I do have on the truck. So won't be traveling too fast today. Currently, winter weather advisories are in place across the majority of northern Indiana and northern Ohio as well. And this is due to the fact of freezing rain potential across the region. Ice accretions anywhere between 0.05 of an inch and 0.2 of an inch of ice expected. Highest amounts right now are expected generally east of I-69, especially between US 30 and State Road 18. Generally just to the south of Fort Wayne is where we're expecting the highest ice totals. And a lot of that is because there's a little bit more warm air aloft for the rain and these rain showers to work with here. Once you go north of Fort Wayne, there's more cold air aloft, and that really promotes sleet and more of a wintry mix, and therefore cutting down on a lot of ice north of Fort Wayne. So something to keep in mind there too. Some snow may even mix in, especially along and north of the toll road too. Anywhere between a trace to perhaps maybe an inch at max up there. So but probably the worst of the road conditions are between now and probably 9 p.m. here tonight. The freezing rain will end probably around 6, 7 p.m. here tonight across northern Indiana before it exits the state. However, those travel issues will prolong well past the end of the precipitation, and a lot of that has to do with because of falling temperatures tonight into the 20s. So what is falling as ice is going to remain as ice into the overnight hours, especially on untreated roads. So good news is, though, I've seen a lot of INDOT plows out. They have been doing a really nice job pre-treating the roads today. A lot of the bridges are brined and ready to go, so that should help, but icy conditions are expected, so do plan on that if you are out and about. And I am going to go just to my south here a little bit. Coming into Blackford County and maybe even Jay County, Southern Wells County, there's a heavier cell there that might have some mixed precipitation in it, but also might have a few lightning strikes in it too. So see if we can go see a couple of those. Lightning isn't overly common in freezing rain events, although it can happen, as we saw Wednesday night. A lot of that has to do with thunderstorms taking advantage of the warm air that we have aloft. There's some elevated instability there, and thunderstorms really strive in warm, moist, unstable air. And when you have that aloft, they'll strive in that. But something else, if we do get some lightning, the thunder will be very loud. And that is because of the cold air that we have here at the surface that kind of acts as a, kind of like when you acts like a megaphone. It likes to trap those sound waves in the cold air and really makes thunder, 2 to 3 times as loud as what it normally would be. And that's because cold air is less resistant than warmer air. So something kind of cool and something to look out for as well. And there are some lightning strikes showing up on radar just to my south, so we may get a couple here. Something else to note, though, on the camera, I don't know how well you can see it, but you can see tire tracks on the road already just in front of me here. And that's because this rain is already freezing on contact with the ground and area roadways. Last night, our low temperatures in northern Indiana were in the 20s. Our soil temperatures have cooled from above freezing now to below freezing. So anything that falls will freeze on contact with roadways, trees, power lines, etc. Right now, our surface temperature is 31 degrees with a dew point of 26. So we're plenty cold for freezing rain here in this part of Indiana. And it's what makes freezing rain so dangerous, too. It really doesn't take that much to cause havoc on the roadways. 1 to 2 inches of snow is nothing, but if you get anywhere from a glaze of ice to even 500s of ice, that's enough to really cause treacherous driving conditions as you lose that traction with the ground. So it makes freezing rain so dangerous and why we have winter weather advisories in place today. We got Drew popping in here, Nancy popping in here. Howdy, guys. Again, we'll be live here this afternoon through the entirety here of this event here. I may pop in and out talking or pointing something out, but for parts of the stream, you may not hear anything, but you may see my live stream and then the radar there in your bottom left. So again, we are in northern Indiana. I am currently in Wells County, Indiana, just south of Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I think the highest ice accretions will be between State Road 18 and US 30 across northern Indiana, especially east of I-69 is where I have the highest confidence in ice accretions up to a tenth or perhaps a little bit greater than that. So again, thanks for following us here. We'll try to keep you updated here on the page as well, as live updates out here on the road as well. So. I'm starting to see some small icicles starting to form on some street signs here. So that's a sign that this stuff is starting to freeze, as expected here. Again, our temperatures at the surface here are 31 degrees with a dew point at 27. So we are well cold enough for freezing rain to accrete on any surface, especially elevated surfaces. So do keep that in mind if you guys are traveling here today. It would be best to really take it slow and really avoid travel if possible, especially on interstates and highly traveled roads, as those are expected to get quite dangerous here today. Now we're starting to get into that heavier shower here. And again, this is all freezing rain right here. So don't let it fool you. There's some small ice pellets on the ground as well. Could be sleet, but it's probably more in the line of some small convective hail within the shower here. But again, this is all freezing rain right here, so ice is starting to accrete. And accreting very rapidly as well. Yeah, not surprised to hear that, Nancy. Once you go Fort Wayne, and especially northward, more sleet and more mixed precipitation is expected up there. And a lot of that has to do, there's just more cold air aloft. That really helps the raindrops refreeze on the way down. Versus once you go south of Fort Wayne, the air is actually warmer aloft. At the surface, we're still cold, 31 degrees. However, once you go up, and you don't have to go up very high, only about 1,000 feet or so, your air is above freezing, and that really keeps the water liquid, creating this freezing rain threat. But once you go north of Fort Wayne, having that cold air, more wintry mix is expected, and a little bit less on the ice accretions up there. So, not surprised to hear that. So, thanks for that report. But we are starting to see a glaze of freezing rain already starting to accrete on area trees and area roadways. The roads are starting to get rather slippery here. Um, and this will continue here through the rest of the afternoon and into early evening here, especially north of State Road 18 and US 30 in northern Indiana. I'm actually going to take a step outside here to look at these ice pellets that are on the ground just to see if they are sleet or if they have a nuclei inside indicating that they're more of the line of convective hail. They're not very large, maybe about pea size right now, but I do want to take a look at those. So it was hard to tell if it was true hail or not due to the foggy nature of the ice pellets. So it could be either way. There is an updraft detected in that cell, so it could be some small hail, but it could also be some sleet as well. So either way, enough to make the roadways pretty slippery here. And the Storm Prediction Center does have a mesoscale discussion across northern Indiana, southern Michigan, and northern Ohio. And what that entails is they're watching this area for freezing rain potential through the afternoon hours here, indicating for slippery conditions and stuff like that. So it is something to watch here. Again, surface temperatures are 31 degrees with a dew point of 28, so we're plenty cold for freezing rain to occur. And as always, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat here while we're out on the roads. We'll try to get those questions answered for you. We'll be here covering the freezing rain here throughout the afternoon while providing updates in there as well. There's also a lot of ponding on the roadways here. A lot of that is due to the slow percolation rates that we have here today because of our soils are frozen. The heavy rainfall rates that we had here in this first band of showers, and even one could call it a thunderstorm here, produced enough heavy rainfall rates to where the rainfall is coming down faster than what the ground and soils can absorb it just because of the frozen ground. So that's another thing to keep in mind here too with this first initial band of rain. So another hazard on the roadway here. Just kind of going around some of the bigger puddles here so I don't get drawn into them. Nita says, sleek pellets on the street and grass in Kokomo. Yeah, not surprised to hear that there. Again, these convective showers will continue here through the afternoon and become more prevalent here, especially in the mid-afternoon hours from now through about 3, 4 p.m. Is when we'll see the bulk of it. Primarily north of State Road 18 and US 30, we'll see the bulk of the freezing rain. Once you go north of US 30, there's some more cold air for the system with, and that'll promote more in the way of sleet and perhaps some wintry mix in there too, maybe even a few snowflakes. But the bulk of the freezing rain is expected to be areas Fort Wayne and south at this time, just because there's some more warm air aloft in those areas to really promote freezing rain versus sleet. But again, any shift by a few miles will have significant differences and may even include Fort Wayne. So right now, Fort Wayne, what we're thinking for you is anywhere between 0.05 to 1/10 of an inch of ice, perhaps a little bit more south of the city. Again, as there's more warm air to work with once you go south. But roadways are starting to become very slippery. We're starting to see minor ice accretions on roadways, bridges, and power lines and trees as well. So a glaze of ice has occurred so far. See, George is in here now. Great to see you. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in chat here. I'll try to get them answered for you here as we're out and about here today, covering freezing rain here across Indiana and Ohio. Got another lightning strike showing up here on radar just north of Salina, Ohio. Not surprised to see that there. Starting to get some nice ice accretion on my windshield wipers too. Lost my pavement. Now here's a time we'll pull up radar here to kind of show you what we're looking at here. You can see some stronger showers, especially way over here across eastern Indiana, northwest Ohio here. But if you look at our temperature profiles, we're right around 32, 31 degrees at the surface here. So we're plenty cold for freezing rain here across northern Indiana, northern Ohio. Again, that is why we have winter weather advisories in place today, is because of the freezing rain potential across the state. This is going to cause, hazardous driving conditions, especially this afternoon and into this evening as well, as temperatures at the surface are not looking to warm, but rather remain in the 30s and even drop into the 20s tonight. So this will create hazardous driving conditions all across northern Indiana and northern Ohio, and perhaps southern Michigan, mainly south of I-94, could get in on some wintry mix perhaps. So definitely some areas to watch here. But right now, your strongest or your heaviest precipitation is right on the leading edge there, right around the Indiana-Ohio state line, from looks like about Winchester all the way to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and stretching over to Salinas. So right now, that's your heaviest batch of rain, and there's even been some lightning strikes embedded within that as well, and then some rain filling in behind that. And again, this rain is freezing on contact. Surface temperatures are 31 degrees here right now where I am at. And I am in southern Adams County right now. I'll be heading north here in a little bit. But this will continue throughout this afternoon and into early evening. Now, the bulk of the precipitation is expected to be out of the state here by about 7 o'clock here tonight. But again, the effects of the rain and the ice will remain present through the evening and into the overnight hours, especially on untreated roadways. So do keep that in mind if you guys are out and about here today. So we'll go ahead and turn back north here. But as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them in chat here, and I'll try to get them answered for you. You guys are more than welcome to ask some questions if you have. Some of the precipitation that has fallen here that I've noticed is a little bit of graupel mixing in as well. Probably another reason why we're seeing some lightning strikes on radar, so not surprised to see that either. Graupel is when a snowflake partially melts, but doesn't fully melt before it reaches the ground, and some super cold water droplets accrete to that snowflake, giving it a soft shell of ice on the outside, often causing it to bounce and sometimes look like Dippin' Dots a little bit too. So a little bit of that going on, I can see. But again, there's a lot of ponding on area back roads, especially on the shoulders, where the frozen soil can't absorb the water quick enough from that heavier batch of rain that moved through a little bit ago. Unfortunately, a lot of that could refreeze and just form a blanket of ice on area roadways as well as we go throughout the afternoon. So something else to keep in mind if you are traveling on area roadways, especially back roads. You can see the tire tracks on the roads here in front of me, and a lot of that is because a lot of the rainfall is kind of starting to turn into a slush. It's starting to freeze here on area roadways, so we are starting to see that icing here. You can, off to the right on your screen there, you can see my radio antenna on the vehicle here, and starting to get a nice accretion of ice on it. Yeah, so Northern Michigan, you guys are missing out on the ice, but you guys are getting quite a bit of snow here today. A good swath of 3 to 6 inches there across northern lower. But I don't know about you, but I would almost rather have snow than freezing rain. Freezing rain is just terrible no matter how you look at it. Um, it doesn't take that much to really cause havoc on area roadways. Um, and it's really just a nuisance no matter how you look at it. You know, 1 to 2 inches of snow, no big deal. But if you get anywhere from a glaze to even 5/100ths of an inch of ice, that's enough ice to really cause hazardous driving conditions everywhere you go. So that's what makes freezing rain so dangerous is you lose your frictional contact with your tires to the ground. Four-wheel drive may get you going, but it's not going to allow you to stop, unfortunately, when it comes to ice. So, and again, that's why we have our winter weather advisories in place today, is because of the expected travel impacts that are expected here today as a result. Another important note, though, is make sure your headlights are on during these events. I know sometimes your daylight sensors may not sense that it's dark enough to turn your automatic lights on. So it's a good thing to memorize where your override dial is or button on your car or truck, and make sure your headlights and taillights are on. That way others can see you both behind you and in front of you, as winter precipitation can often reduce visibility. So another big good thing to keep in mind. But again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat there, and I'll try to read those and answer those as I can here. Just want to say thanks for watching today, and we'll be out in the field here today, covering the freezing rain here across northern Indiana and northern Ohio. We'll also have our affiliate chasers out across Michigan here later tonight, covering the snow potential across Michigan here today. They'll probably go live with Michigan Storm Chasers here later this afternoon. So keep that in mind. Yeah, some of the trees are starting to look pretty white up here, if I do say. And again, those of you just joining us, if you guys are wondering where I am at, I'm currently still in Wells County. Just south of Fort Wayne, Indiana is where I'm currently at, northeast Indiana. I think the highest ice accretions will be across eastern portions of northern Indiana. So that is where I am residing here today. And also into northern Ohio as well. Could have some ice accretions anywhere between 5/100ths of an inch of ice to up to isolated 2/10ths. So again, not an ice storm here today. For an ice storm, we really need that criteria to be 1/4 of an inch or greater of ice accretion on roadways, trees, power lines to meet that ice storm criteria. We're going to be below that here today, or at least as expected. Most people across northern Indiana will see anywhere between a glaze to about a tenth of an inch of ice here today. Higher totals are possible, especially north of State Road 18 and south of US 30 across northeast Indiana. Some higher totals are possible in those locations there. But either way, no matter where you're at, roadways are going to be the same. They're going to be very slippery and very icy. Right now, back roads seem to be the highest affected. A lot of untreated roads. The state has done a very nice job pre-treating state highways and U.S. highways here today ahead of this event. So right now, the salt is working. However, that could change as we go into the afternoon hours as more rain kind of dilutes or washes off the brine or salt on the roadways. So it may lose its effectiveness later on. But the state is out salting pretty heavily right now, which is good to see. But we are starting to see a lot of the ice really accreting to all trees at this time, including power lines and grass even as well. Have some more lightning strikes showing up here on radar just south of Saline, Ohio, near New Bremen. There across Darke County, Ohio, perhaps. Maybe southern Mercer County there. Starting to see some lightning strikes on radar. So, again, not surprised to see those. Thunderstorms, elevated thunderstorms are possible here today, as some elevated instability works its way into the region. That'll bring those chances for a few lightning strikes. But again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat here. We'll be live here for a little bit longer here. We may briefly stop here for this afternoon and then go live again a little bit later to give you guys another update here. But as of right now, widespread freezing rain is occurring across northern Ohio, northern Indiana, and some wintry mix is occurring for areas north of Fort Wayne. Some sleet, freezing rain, and a few wet snowflakes mixed in there as well. So, and this will continue through the afternoon hours and into early this evening. But right now, surface temperatures are anywhere between 30 and 32 degrees here across the area, which is below freezing here at the surface. But the kicker is that if you go just above the ground, not very high, even a few hundred feet to 1,000 feet off the ground, air temperatures start to warm up above freezing between the surface and the clouds, and that allows the precipitation to fall as a liquid. And as it does, the cold air at the ground is so shallow it doesn't allow the raindrop to refreeze before it makes contact with the ground, therefore falling as freezing rain and freezing on contact. Again, that's what makes this type of precipitation so dangerous and also so lucrative and hard to forecast as well, as any little difference in variables such as temperature, dew point, precipitation rates can really affect how much ice accretion one will see. So I don't know how well it shows up on the camera on your stream, but if you look to the right on the power lines here, you've got some icicles hanging off the cables and off of some tree limbs as well. And a decent thunderstorm on radar starting to move into the Sydney area as well. Could have perhaps some small hail in it. Just to the south of, or just to the north of Roseburgs, Ohio, just south of St. Henry, south of Salina there could have some small hail or perhaps some graupel in there as well. That's kind of the dark Mercer County line right there. So. You can see the ice really accreting to my radio antenna. They're on the right side of your screen. My windshield wipers are also looking fairly shiny right now as well. We got Michigan Storm Chasers in chat here. Good afternoon to you guys again. They'll be live here probably this afternoon here. Just like we cover the state of Indiana. Our affiliate page, Michigan Storm Chasers, will cover everything in Michigan from severe weather to winter weather. They've got you covered up there. And they have some chasers going out to cover the winter weather going on up there. Some decent snowfall is expected across the lower peninsula of Michigan and even the southern UP as well. Could get in on a decent swath of moderate to heavy snowfall. Locally 3 to 6 inches with some isolated higher amounts possible as well. So they'll keep you covered with everything winter weather up there and even severe weather once we get into severe weather season. So give them a like if you haven't as well. Yeah, Akron, Ohio. There's a chance you guys could see some here today. It won't be until later tonight. I believe you are in a winter weather advisory, but it'll probably be later this evening before it reaches eastern portions of Ohio. Right now, it's in northwest Ohio, is where the bulk of the precipitation is, but it is moving fairly quickly. So probably here by late afternoon, you guys will probably get in on some freezing rain there, Steve. Or, sorry, not Steve, Severe Storm Filmer. So, yeah, give it a couple hours and you'll probably be seeing some freezing rain moving in. And we do have a special weather statement now for issued by the National Weather Service in Wilmington, Ohio, for that cell I was talking about earlier. And it is for pea-sized hail. So there is some hail in that storm, kind of like what we saw last Wednesday night. Some elevated thunderstorms with some elevated instability does give enough energy for these storms to produce an updraft. And there's enough cold air aloft, too, to form some hailstones. So not surprised to see that at all. This will impact portions of Shelby, northeastern Darke County, southwestern Auglaize, and southern Mercer counties through about 2 p.m. here today. So kind of right on the county lines there of Auglaize, Darke, Mercer County, and portions of Shelby County. So could get in on some pea-sized hail there. And again, that's around the I-75 corridor east of 127 between Sidney and St. Henry. So could get in on some pea-sized hail there. And again, if any of you guys are listening from that area, put in the comments. Let me know what you see there. I'd be curious to know what the hail is doing there. Again, this is sub-severe. We're not expecting severe weather today, but a few instances of some small hail can't be ruled out, especially across central Ohio and even southern Ohio as well. So. There's a chance it could have some lightning in it by the time it reaches Akron. It really just depends on how much instability is there aloft. Again, this system is phasing or merging with another piece of energy that's coming down out of Canada. Those two systems are meeting. They're kind of phasing together as one as we speak right now. They'll form one larger system as they get into eastern Ohio. Again, it really depends on what instability is associated with it. On this, we'll have any lightning with it once it gets there. It's possible. So can't be ruled out. Again, not a significant amount of instability. For those of you that speak weather, instability is measured in what we call joules per kilogram, or JPK. That's a measurement of how much instability there is in the atmosphere for these thunderstorms to work with. And for those of you that know what that means, there's a measurement of anywhere between, guidance is throwing out numbers between 100 to 200 joules per kilogram. So that's those of you that know those numbers, knows in the summertime, that's not very significant. Really, we need, 1,000, would be sufficient in the summertime. But in the wintertime, you can get by with 100 or so to produce some lightning and perhaps some small hail. So again, nothing too crazy today, but just stuff to keep an eye on. So don't be too caught off guard if you do see a lightning strike or hear a rumble of thunder today. A lot of that is indicative of that elevated instability that we have here. Again, it's not a lot of instability, but it's enough to produce a stray lightning bolt or perhaps even a stray thunderstorm like we have currently in the Mercer County, Auglaize, Darke County lines. So, and even in parts of Shelby County, Ohio. There on the radar on the bottom left portions of your screen there, if you see that higher reflectivity there at the bottom of your screen there, that's where that special weather statement is in place right now. And it is moving fairly fast too. It's moving east at 70 miles an hour, so there's no catching it with the vehicle today. That'd be hard to catch on a good day, let alone with freezing rain. So there are some pretty strong winds aloft. Here in a couple minutes, we'll probably pop off here for a little bit. I'll continue to update on Indiana Storm Chasing Network's Facebook page. CN here through the afternoon. We may go live here a little bit longer, but I wanted to come on here a little bit early here to show you the transition from rain to freezing rain on the onset of this event, to really give you guys an idea of what's going on, what factors and what can we expect here today. So really through the remainder of the evening here, through about 6 p.m., freezing rain will be widespread over northern Indiana, especially south of US 30. We'll see probably the highest accretions, anywhere between 0.05 of an inch, upwards of 1/10 of an inch of ice. Some isolated higher amounts possible, especially east of I-69, south of US 30. Could see some higher amounts in those locations, including counties such as Wells and Adams County, perhaps even Jay and Blackford County, depending on temperatures down there. North of US 30, there's some more cold air aloft, so some more wintry mix, sleet, snow, and perhaps some freezing rain expected up there. Freezing rain amounts will be a little bit less, generally anywhere between 0.05 of an inch or less for areas north of Fort Wayne. A trace of snow is possible, especially along the I-90 corridor in areas north. Could see some snow develop or mix in later this afternoon as some more cold air comes in aloft. With that being said here, guys, drive safe and be safe if you have to go out on the roads. Again, being out on the roads across northern Indiana is not advised here this afternoon. But I understand, whether it's for work, emergencies, etc. If you guys are out on the roads, do be careful. Interstates are very slippery, and back roads are becoming iced over as well. So with that being said here, guys, I'll probably hop off here, but I will continue to update everything here on the page here today as we go throughout the duration of this event, and we'll provide you with those updates as needed. So with that being said here, guys, thanks for joining us here again, and I am Caleb here with Indiana Storm Chasing Network, and we'll see you next time, okay? Or later this afternoon. Take care.